Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Hollow Knight. We are at the far edge of the kingdom with... Oh, Cornifer down here, hidden away in the most oblique spot. In his cozy little hole. The landscape's all rather serene this side of the city, though the inhabitants are as ferocious as ever. Judging by this wall, the city folks seemed hesitant to build further into the caverns. I wonder what kept them at bay. And he doesn't have much more to offer beyond that. That piece of cloth for the map, the ones that breadcrumb you to Cornifer, were not always here. And Cornifer in Kingdom's Edge was particularly hard to find because of that. Fools. So this is a real cool zone with what looks like snow raining down and piling up. It's not, but it is pretty. Also, these little hoppy boys, they remind me of the enemies from Mega Man X2 in Morph Moth stage. The ones that inhabit the mini-boss. Oh. Also, we got some primal aspids. More on them in a second. As far as the snow goes, a character earlier on did hint at what this is. If you remember back to our conversation with Hornet beneath the statue of the Hollow Knight, she mentioned a grave in ash. Oh shit, big one. Oh, they're fun, boys. Oh. Not today, Primal Aspid. A graven ash at the edge of the world. And a nail master mentioned that one of his friends isolated himself in an ash-swept graveyard. And look at this. Brother Mato, in your lonely home at the top of the world, you still think of me as an enemy. In the future, if you'll listen, I'll tell you why I chose to tread this path. How did you find me down here where the world ends? Oh, what a good phrase! Yes, I know why you're here. You came to learn a nail art from the legendary nail master Oro. It is the law of the great nail sage that I must pass down my teachings to those who are worthy. But no law forbids me from exacting a payment for my time. If you truly wish to train under me, prove it with Geo. Yeah, sure. We got the dash slash. I don't think any of the nail arts are particularly useful beyond the great slash, but we'll take it. You're an excellent pupil. Your skill with the nail and your thirst to become stronger. You remind me of my brothers. I've taught you all I can. Go back into the world, traveler, and leave me to my solitude. And he bows to you, so we'll bow back. In what limited capacity we can. So we have one nail sage left. We met Shio and Oro name-dropped Mato. We're gonna put our stank crest on, which will alter some interactions with a few NPCs. I don't know if we're gonna run into any of those with the stank crest on, but what we will do is a long series of desolate dives. And they give you plenty of soul totems for this specific reason, because you're gonna expend a lot. There we go. Oddly enough, the small ones are a little bit trickier just because it's harder to dash under them. You actually have to time it. And Primal Aspid, here you go. 3 shots, no problem. I don't think they are the worst enemy in the game by like a huge margin. I quite like them. They are tricky. They're not the easiest enemies in the game to deal with, but like their reputation is so ill-deserved. We're gonna head right first. During Team Cherry's AMA, they said that primal aspids are the best enemy in the game, which I also disagree with, but for that reason. They're simple, but they're tricky. They're just fun, tricky little dudes. Definitely not the worst. Which is what the questions they were responding to were saying. But a fun little thing about them is that there was going to be a primal aspid boss, which unfortunately did not make the cut. I'm sure some people would have had a very good time with that. Speaking of which, let's talk about some of the cut things, like the snail village, or better yet, the bone forest. So there are screenshots of this because it was really late in development when this was cut. And it is a gorgeous zone with all of this haunting contrast between like the gloopy bright orange lava and this harrowing gray gothic / Geiger-esque backgrounds being lit from the lava. It was really pretty. Also, hold on. There is, for all of our effort diving down, we get 420 geo, which scholars among you may recall is the weed number. Yeah, great. We did all that for 420 geo. There's gonna be another reason why we might want to come back here way later on. But for now, it's a chunk of geo. We spent 800, so we got half of it back already. Now we're just gonna climb on back up. But the bone forest. The bone forest. It was this, like, gargantuan endgame area populated by ants. And it's also kind of the reason that we got Deep Nest. So the bone forest was going to be in the upper right of the map, around where Crystal Peak is, I think. But for this lava zone, they didn't think that that quite made sense, so they made it one of the bottom-most zones on the map. And they needed a zone to connect to it. So they used this idea they had for, a really inhospitable, dark, claustrophobic zone full of spiders. And that's how Deep Nest was made. Just kind of as an excuse to connect to the bone forest. Deep Nest, by the way, was much, much larger than what we went through. They cut a significant chunk of Deep Nest down. And the final version of Deep Nest is already huge. Oh, look at this super dangerous worst enemy in the game. It killed itself. Oh, that's goofy as hell. And here, there's a hidden area. Oh my god, this Geiger-esque trilobite beetle, whatever that is. This enormous ancient being. I think it's referred to as a higher being or a god or something in the files. It's long since dead though. And it's very cool. We got the quick slash though, which is one of the better charms in the game, even though it's not one that I particularly love. If you get into a rhythm, you can get multiple slashes in the time that would normally take you to slash once, which is a substantial DPS increase. And even if you're just mashing it, if you're not following the proper rhythm of the charm, you still get a slight DPS increase. So we can't do anything with that inky black geyser yet. So back to the Bone Forest. So it was set to be the largest area in the game, which, given how expansive the map as a whole was, and how big some of the other zones already were. Like, we were talking about a much bigger version of Deep Nest, even. And the Bone Forest was bigger than that. You can get an idea in your head that this was truly going to be a titanic level. Maybe too much so. And that an extra zone of that size could get overwhelming. So between that and how the Bone Forest was sort of barren and also taking time away from other zones, it got axed. Despite being pretty far along in development. Plus, they had other ideas that wouldn't really fit with the Bone Forest, so a few smaller zones were added, like the Hive, the Ancient Basin was another one, and the zone we're in now, Kingdom's Edge, which they described as their catch-all zone, where they put everything left that they needed to do. So this cool-sounding zone full of ants may have got cut, but it gave birth to a series of interesting and honestly more necessary zones. I think the only necessity of visiting the Bone Forest was, I think it was where they were planning on putting the double jump upgrade. Which makes sense since it got axed and the Ancient Basin came later. That we get the Mothwing Cloak there. This ash trap, well, that confirms it. As if we didn't already have the dialogue from the other characters. But that raises a new question. Ash from what? Why is there ash raining down and piling up? Well, Hornet did tell us to meet her here, all the way back in the City of Tears, so looks like we finally found her. So you'd pursue the deeper truth. It isn't one the weak could bear. As we just emit stank lines. Oh no! At least she's downwind of us. Prove yourself ready to face, I'll not hold back. My needle is lethal, I'd feel no sadness in a weakling's demise. Show me you can accept this kingdom's past and claim responsibility for its future. You ready for the Hornet refight? Oh, this is one of the better fights in the game. Get all this dramatic fog going. And so far, oops, you'll notice it's not all that different from the first fight. But the Hollow Knight tried and true approach to refights is make it faster, make it more hectic. She does do one new thing, or she has done one new thing so far, and it's that parry. This is the other new wrinkle to the fight. Damn it. I think the other new thing that she does is she changes up her voice lines for the attacks to make them less reliable as tells. But yeah, she has that parry now, and she has this. So it will greatly behoove you to take time clearing that stuff out. Because you do not want to be stuck, unable to maneuver around the arena. That healing that should be crucial. I would say it's more imperative to clear this stuff out than it is to actually find opportunities to hit her. Like, hitting her should be the second priority on your list. Or third, if you include avoiding damage. Just make yourself space to get around. Because she's already faster. And restricting where you can go is a really big problem. So strong. What a good-ass refight. You could do it if you had the will. But could you raise your nail once knowing its tragic conception? And knowing yourself? Then do it, Ghost of Hallownest. Head onward, burn that mark upon your shell, and claim yourself as king. Look at all of these teeth or ribs or whatever that is. And also, notice that those look like the points on the Pale King's crown. The cast-off shell. We're inside something that we cannot dream nail. We get the King's brand, again with those pointed horns of the crown. Hallownest shall recognize the new ruler. And all of the ash, it's blowing from inside. We were about to be buried under an avalanche of ash, which Hornet rescues us from. So that's a pretty serious connection to the Pale King. It is not going to be our last. Just again, notice all the molting ash raining down the body of that lengthy creature, the points of the teeth, or whatever those were, resembling the crown. And also, again, note what is coiling in the background. Not related to what I was talking about directly, but just keep it in mind. Sometimes it can be easy to lose sight of what's going on in the background, but it's pretty important here, and it's pretty cool. Oh hi, this looks like the background, doesn't it? It likes it. It likes it. Oh man, Kingdom's Edge is so cool! Get some more clear views of the background. And hey, you can even see, because the shading, how layered this thing is. It's also gigantic. You can get some lifeblood here. There's cause later on to have either 14 or 16 lifeblood, something like that. We won't do that by gathering lifeblood in the manner that we just did, but we will see what that's all about. It'll come much later. It's easy to do that with a trinket, as opposed to finding all these lifeblood scattered around various zones. Oh hi. One prefers its mind not be pride. It's rather unsettling, rather invasive. This thing can resist the nail like the seer. Tiny thing, you climb high. Seek the knowledge of these lands. This ashen place is grave of worm. Once told it came to die, but what is death for that ancient being? More transformation, methinks. More transformation. This failed kingdom is product of the being spawned from that event. Is it you bothering about my tale? Rest is somewhat disturbed, but I find that sensation not unpleasant. Weird. Weird. Tiny thing. The mark of worm you bear. Is it change you seek, or to save this ruin? That choice is yours. Always the smallest creatures. Oh my god, sorry. That attempt the largest things. This falling ash is mold. The worm's corpse decaying. Endless serene, sad. With its light gone, the world is smaller. Don't mistake, I am not a worm. Too small. I am too many limbs. No foresight like those old things. For quiet retreat did I climb up here, away from spitting creatures. Yes, high up, away from simple minds, lost to light. Theirs is a different kind of unity, rejection of the worm's attempt at order. I resist the light's allure, union it may offer, but also a mind bereft of thought. To instinct alone, a bug is reduced. Be on your way then? It's rest I'll return to, though in these times, sleep oft proves uneasy. Oh, Bardoon has so much interesting dialogue. So the light causes mindlessness. Sounds an awful lot like that very bright orange infection. And what it does. The light, the infection, oh god, offers unity. But it reduces bugs to instinct, so they have peace and strength, but in a hive mind. Again, the infection has its own driving will and mind. And also, yes, this whole ash-swept graveyard is the grave of a worm. The worm, its decaying body, is the ashen molt, as he calls it. He also tells us so much about the worm and about the Pale King, who is a higher being we now know, evidently transformed when the worm died. It transformed into that smaller being, the Pale King, who then went on to offer the bugs of the disparate kingdoms that now make up Hallownest unity and intelligence under his rule. And this looks like another cast-off shell, doesn't it, of a different worm. First we're gonna come all the way over here, because I know it's on the right. This looks like it just connects back around to the City of Tears. I want to see in what way. So this is one pretty clear piece of confirmation that the Pale King is in fact the worm. Or a worm. We've definitely had references to multiple worms, W-Y-R-M. And the worms were higher beings. This, oh my god, again, this really Geiger-esque room is where your shade goes if you die in the Colosseum coming up. And it's Zote again. How miserable to be stuck here instead of continuing my quest. I came to this kingdom to fulfill a promise. This is what I will do. Ah, Zote actually has something he's after. How miserable. What do you want, Kerr? Have you come to laugh at me as well? Fools! Did you never consider that being trapped in this cage was precisely what I intended? Yes, by all means, release me into your arena. I am Zote the Mighty, and as soon as I draw my nail life ender, your laughter will turn into terror. Leave me be, you lowly worm. I must rest before my great battle. Pray we do not meet in the arena, lest Zote, a knight of great renown, draw his nail life ender. Oh my god, I love Zote! I love Zote so much! He really is a fantastic character. He's a huge howling dickhead, but... oh, he's very good. So in one stroke, we go from this incredible lore drop from Bardoon right to optional area and a little bit of comic relief. You know what, actually, no, I want to resolve whatever is down there, because I don't remember quite what this is. And I'm worried I'll forget to come back. Oh, it's this hot spring! I forgot about this! Why does it disturb me? One of the gladiators is just hanging out down here. In this hidden hot spring. In one fell swoop, we go from this huge lore dump right out of a huge plot dump with the cast-off shell and getting the King's brand. And then we get this kind of nice optional area, really combat intensive, but also a lot of comic relief from Zote. This game balances its tones really well. Reminds me of Yakuza, actually, where it can go from... I mean, it has even more extremes than Yakuza, I think, where it goes from incredibly grim to pretty charming and cute and funny. Also, look at this fella. Actually, yeah, that's right. What is her name? The Pale Lurker. She is a woman. Holding on to something in her right hand. You can see that little item glow. And this is all this fight is. This was added in the Godmaster DLC. So relatively recently. And if you manage to dream nail the Pale Lurker, you get the dialogue, for me, for you, for King. Oh, that's so cute. It's not really much of a fight, you just chase her around. And occasionally she escapes and you use audio cues to locate her again. It's a little bit annoying, but it's very rarely actually deadly. In fact, I'm just gonna tank some hits to get extra damage in. And it's fine. Just to end that a little bit quicker. Man, so that giant cloud of stank, that's the combination of the Dung Defender badge and the Spore Shroom, which emits spores when you heal in a large cloud. So they synergize together. And we get another simple key. Prior to the Godmaster DLC, there were, I think, 3 simple keys in the game and only 3 uses for them. So this adds a 4th. And there's a hidden area on this creek, or this little pool, where you first found her. And there's a King's Idol down here, which, between the Dreamnail dialogue, for being a pale lurker, and now the King's Idol, there's some kind of connection to the king. I'm not entirely sure what, though. Maybe we'll find out. Who knows? Alright, let's sit upon the bench again. And we are going to go and do the Colosseum of Fools. So here's how this is going to go. The Colosseum of Fools is 3 trials, and they're all extremely long. When the warrior finds their way to a fair Colosseum, final destination for all seeking trials of intense and deadly combat. Place their mark upon the trial board. Gates will open. Oh, he's the little fool. There's a small fee attached. There's a bench down below. Yeah. Oh, he is pretty fearsome himself, despite his size and predicament. Each one will cost an increasing amount of geo. You only pay once, and you can fail as many times as you want without repaying the entry price. Lord Fool, give me another chance. I'll prove my strength to you. That's why it's the Colosseum of Fools. And he's the little fool. Here's how we're going to do this. Each trial is extremely long. Like, most of them are between 10 and 15 minutes. And they're repetitive combat challenges. They're really fun to do, but I'm worried about putting, like, nearly 40 minutes of just this in, so we will just show the entirety and do commentary for the entirety of the first trial, and then we'll just show the final boss of the 3rd trial and then I'll put a separate video up, uncut, unedited, no commentary, with just all 3 trials. They get really tough, especially that third one. And it's worth showing at least one of these just so you get an idea of how these function. You'll get introduced to new enemy types, which are mostly remixes or just straight up enemies that we've seen before throughout the trials, but you'll get different ones in each trial. And then, you know, usually some kind of boss fight or mini boss. And also they do little creative things with the platforms as well. Sometimes there will be spikes on the wall or spikes on the floor, and it's just wave-based. You finish a wave, and immediately the next one starts spawning. Oh. And there are a couple of enemies like that who are unique to the arena. Oh, that's not a good spot to be. So it was this enemy type that we saw resting in the hidden hot spring. The thing about the Colosseum, though, is you get plenty of opportunities to heal. Oh, almost landed right on top of it. Now here is where this one gets fun. You have a very limited window, a very limited surface area to play with while fighting aspids, primal aspids. And once again, fun area. Good stuff. You have to watch pogoing on those guys because they're the chakrams they throw do go straight overhead. Also, that's Lord Fool in the background there, dead upon the throne. Nobody seems to care. Music here also kicks ass. Oh, whoops. Oop. Oh my god. That threw my rhythm off a lot. Oh, I think the stink cloud's gonna kill it. It doesn't do that much damage, but it is extra DPS. So this is nothing. And remember this boy? Let's see if we can get this right this time, this pattern. Good. So we have the correct timing this time. Yeah! We couldn't do that the first time we fought the Vengefly King. We kept screwing the fireball up. So you know what makes the Colosseum extra cool? It was a stretch goal on the Hollow Knight Kickstarter. They didn't reach it though, but Team Cherry still put it in anyway because they had time free near the end of development. And their Aspid here. Oh, come on now. Hate pushing them off the screen and having to wait for them to float back down. God, this arena's cool. It's also really fun. By the end, it gets so intense for such a long period that it does wind up hurting my neck because I'm so, like, stiff and focused. Oh, the Gruz Boys! Oh yeah, these ones explode. Shit. That's not a good position to be in. Oh. Hello. I don't remember if this is the one with the Mollix or not. I think that might be the... Oh, the Gruz Mothers! That Cursed Knight got you down to half health? Try some new shit. We're just gonna wind up taking a bunch of damage just to speed this along. This is not the end yet. That's more just like a... Hold on. Yeah, okay, this is the end now. Notice the audience is laughing at him. Also, this is so cathartic. Oh yeah, this position! I'm so happy we got this. He gets this special animation like it's the end of a Street Fighter 2 match. Go on, curse, scurry away lest I humiliate you further. God, it's so good. It's so good. And we make up our entrance fee by an enormous margin. And for winning, we get an extra charm notch, which is so worth it. And we'll get a Palor for doing the next one. Which again, there will be an unedited video with all of the trials. In this case, though, we are just gonna edit out most of it and get to the end. These things really go nuts at the end. And our reward for the second trial is not only, again, more than enough geo to cover the small paltry entrance fee, but also another piece of Palor, which is our second one out of 3 that we need for an upgrade, which we're going to go do before the third trial. We're going to max the nail out before that third trial. We just need a bit more geo and one more Palor, which we will get in a moment. Oh, I can't place the Dream Gate there. I think I have to be outside of the arena to do that. A couple of no-go zones like that. Yeah, that'll make our return nice and expedient. What do we have here? I came to this kingdom to fulfill a promise, and I did. That promise made so long ago, a promise to myself. Promise of glory, glory for I, Zote the Mighty. I never doubted myself, never faltered, and now I have achieved everything I desired. Son of a bitch. Heroic, beautiful. Oh, he's wooing Operetta. Great prince, so dark, so troubled. Son of a bitch. What's he telling her? That's not the only danger I had to overcome in my quest for glory. You've noticed this trophy, haven't you? A keepsake from my final triumphant battle deep in the pit below us. Yes, Lifeender claimed another victim, and the crowd erupted into ecstatic cheering. Cheering that was both loud and utterly sincere. To what do I owe my long string of triumphs and victories, you ask? As I said earlier, the key is in my personal philosophy, the 57 precepts of Zote. Particularly relevant here is the first precept, always win your battles. As for the other 56 precepts, well... Oh, we'll be hearing from all of the 57 precepts. First, though, let's dash over to the left. I'm going to include all 57 precepts, and yes, there are 57 in the game. They wrote all of them out. We're going to include that in the Trials of the Colosseum of Fools video, so you can just enjoy his wisdom, which occasionally exists. And there's our final piece of Palor. That is for, I think, 31 grubs. We're filling this place up. Soon we're going to rescue all the grubs. And yeah, we are going to do that. I'm probably not showing every Cabber Pibber. Alright, so we have enough Palor. We need 3 for the final upgrade and 4,000 geo. Perfect. It's done. The reforging is complete. Your nail is much stronger. As strong as it could ever be. Finally, I behold the majesty of a pure nail. To think this moment has come upon me, must step outside a moment. Yay! whittling noise is so cartoonish. Oh, look at the nailsmith there. My life's work achieved. What more is left? So he achieved his life's dream, but now feels kind of empty. The pure nail forged, my work in this lifetime comes to an end. My only remaining desire is to see and feel the nail strike true. I beg you, cut me down. This is my final moment in life. I want to taste the blade's exquisite edge. After all this time, all this toil, haven't I earned it? Yeah. No more dream nail dialogue. No more dreams! That's a really bittersweet ending. Well, we've maxed out the nail now. It's going to do as much damage as it can, short of any kind of charm shenanigans, like the fragile strength upgrade. And it's time for that third and final trial. Yeah, I remembered it right. My neck fucking hurts. God, Tamer! What a name! Luckily, it's not the hardest fight in the game. It is still fairly hard, especially after an exhausting 13 minutes of really difficult trials. This is like 18 waves deep. And you do not get checkpoints in these, by the— oh god, that was cool! You don't get checkpoints in these at all. So if I die to this boss, I'm starting the whole thing over from wave 1. Shit. Oh man. I think I'm at least getting plenty of damage in on both of them at once. Oh god. So this mount was originally supposed to be a lobster, at least according to the concept art. It's also the only boss designed by a Kickstarter backer not to be a dream warrior. God save the lobster queen. Hey, there's one part of this down. And now the mount doesn't really change up its patterns all that much. Hey, we did it. Oh, God, the stretch feels so good. Oh. Yeah, it's what, like 15 minutes for that? God, my neck is killing me. You get very little downtime in those too, so it's just... oh, it's exhausting. We don't really get anything for doing that, though, aside from the achievement and the geo. And we can repeat all of these. Welcome back. A true fool keeps on fighting, even when there's no more glory to be gained. Yeah, we can redo all that if we want. I don't. We have somewhere better to be. First, we really need to rest at this bench. Are we all fools? It's intense as hell. It's still a lot of fun. Plus, the first two trials are actually extrinsically rewarding as well. Alright, back to the hidden station in the ancient basin, because remember, there's something that we couldn't do before. Oh wait, we don't have the compass on. Let's go correct that real quick. I'm not going to need it for anything in the immediate future, but I would like to do this before I forget. And we even have that charm knowledge, so we can just slap that right on now. And it is right down here. We saw this before. There was a door that we just couldn't open. But remember this plaque. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Our pure vessel has ascended. Beyond lies only the refuse and regret of its creation. So it's a pit full of refuse. We shall enter that place no longer. It was sealed away after their perfect vessel, the Hollow Knight, was chosen. But since we have the King's Brand now, we can see what is down here. The refuse and regret of the Hollow Knight's creation. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one.